full card in the Premier League to predict. Let's get straight to it with Shaka Hislop starting off with Leicester. Great result at Southampton against Palace. Great result against Watford.
Yeah, as good as Crystal Palace have been of late, I just feel Leicester at home get all 3 points.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Mahrez is back to the Mahrez form of the title-winning season. Arsenal, Newcastle. Let's not even bother with this one, eh? Just causing more misery. This is a huge game for Brighton because they are flying.
It is. I'm liking Burnley a lot this season in the Dyche. I think they go away and get all 3 points against a Brighton team that are struggling right now.
As they're known, Burnley 1-0 at home, but they need the points. I think they'll get them. They need to. They've got to do it somehow. Southampton against Leicester were horrific. They go to Chelsea now.
Yeah, no, that's no easy turnaround for them. I think Chelsea at Stamford Bridge get all 3 points.
What about Stoke against your old boys who are flying right now?
They're playing very well, I have to say, and credit to David Moyes, who's done a job and made a turnaround that I didn't expect. I hope it continues. I hope it continues this weekend. But I'm going to go for a draw.
Okay. They've got 2 at home. They're going to have to take up probably 4 out of 6 points. Stoke, I don't think they will this weekend. Do you know what? Watford, Huddersfield. It's tough.
It is,
it's
but
tough.
I'm going for Watford here. They're home. Huddersfield, despite starting the season so well, they've struggled in the form table as well of late.
Form table's the key thing here. They are in the bottom 3 over the last 6 games. Game of the weekend, what happens?
All good things come to an end. I'm sitting on the fence. It's a draw.
Really?
That's the end of that winning streak for Manchester City.
Wow.
Yep.
I just don't... Fullbacks, make your mind up and choose them, for goodness sake. Speaking as a fantasy owner who can't own Ben Davies. West Brom, I get...
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Right. Baggies are in trouble right now. Bournemouth, Liverpool. I like them better away from home.
I'm really not sure about this. I really am. Okay. I just feel going to Bournemouth, small ground, tight. Liverpool haven't been great of late. I'm tempted to go for the draw, but I
First instinct, go with your gut.
No, but the thing for me is Liverpool have been so poor by their standards of late. I'm expecting a response, and I'm sure Klopp gets it out of his team. That's the only reason I'm going. Any other time I'd have gone Bournemouth.
This sounds weird, but I'd give Bournemouth not more of a chance, but a decent chance at Anfield better than they've got. Just the way they played at Old Trafford, I just think they're suited to Liverpool away are decent. Everton turned the corner. Swansea, who need the points.
Yeah, it won't be pretty, but it'll be effective for Everton, and that'll do against a Swansea team that continue to struggle. I'm going to go with Big Sam's Everton.
Not too many disagreements here, apart from City. Looking forward to that, City Spurs?
I am. That'll be a good game.
Should be good. That's our 10 for the weekend. See if we get them right, espnfc.com. Game week 18 in fantasy and in the Premier League. And today's word of warning, caution, make sure the 4 players on your bench, your goalkeeper and your 3 outfielders, are not deadwood. Make sure they're not 4 million guys that never see the light of day. Make sure they're all playing, because that's the theme for this week, rotation risks. I'm going to show you a list of players. Here they are. These are all players over the last 2 weeks, never mind more than that, the 2 weeks that they have either been rested or rotated. They have not started both games. Now look at them. They're all from the big clubs, so that's why I'm having a look at them. Coutinho and Firmino, I think he's learned his lesson, Klopp, about Coutinho. Certainly not to risk him and have him on the bench again. But Kolasinac in midweek didn't play. Walker, Sané, Aguero and Jesus, that's a nightmare. Look, you can go for these guys, but it's at your own risk. Spurs fullbacks, Lacazette at Arsenal, look at Ali as well, Moses and Fabregas. They're all players that, hey, you're more than happy if you want to own them, but just be cautious because they are rotation risks. So we're looking for players that aren't really rotation risks. That is what we have here as far as this week's team is concerned. Some of them may be rotated. That's something you just got to put up with the amount of games that are coming thick and fast. However, let's look at some of these players. David De Gea plays every week unless he's injured. In defence, West Ham, a couple of clean sheets of late as well. Otamendi, a goal-scoring centre-back. Maguire, an assist at Southampton for Leicester. And Monreal, still relatively cheap compared to what he can bring. In midfield, well, there's been a lot of rotation there for Manchester City and for Pep Guardiola. But David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, especially De Bruyne, are the ones that seem to be inked in the team rather than written in pencil. Again, it's a gamble if you want to go for those two, but Silva, especially in goal-scoring form, is cheap. Shaqiri at Stoke, they're not in good form. He is. They've got 2 home games coming up. Riyad Mahrez as well has been integral to Leicester's recent good form. And up front, speaking of which, Jamie Vardy, okay, he got an assist in midweek, needs to hit the goals again. And Wayne Rooney, who's flying right now. They should all play this weekend. If you want to get some of them in, then fine. If you don't, and you want to take some of the bigger names that are rotation risks, on your head be it. As always, may your arrows be green. Look, it might only be the middle of December, but we are coming up to a busy Christmas period where points, Shaka, will be won and lost. It could be crucial because at the bottom of the table, the bottom half of the table, from 11th Southampton down to the team at the foot of the table, Swansea, there's only 6 points separating 10 teams. So as we take a look at the relegation battle, who do you think right now that's not in the bottom 3 that should be worried?
Well, before ball was kicked, I went with Brighton, Huddersfield and Crystal Palace.
Okay.
This deep into the season, as good a start Brighton and Huddersfield have had, you're just starting to see the tailing off. Some of those results leave a little bit to be desired. And you mentioned through the busy Christmas period and then into the second half of the season, that's when squads will be tested, and that's why inevitably you see the promoted teams struggle to survive. I just feel, given the kind of shifting of the tides for both those clubs, they'll be sucked down into the bottom 3. I'm going to swap out Crystal Palace for Swansea.
Okay.
I think Roy Hodgson surprised me, saying in how good a job and how good Crystal Palace have responded since he's come in. Swansea, though, have been desperately poor, and it's not looking up for them. So I've got 2 out of 3 pre-season. Swansea be taking the place of Palace, as I say.
The 3 I'm going to go for are the 3 who are at the bottom of the form table right now. Over the last 6 games, Newcastle, Brighton and Huddersfield. How concerned are you for your former club, Newcastle?
Very. And I said that very early on after the first game of the season. John Joe Shelby got sent off. I thought that was a sign of indiscipline. But then all of a sudden, there was a resurgence about Newcastle United, which has tapered off. There's a lot going on behind the scenes with Newcastle United, in particular in terms of this proposed takeover. All reports are suggesting we're right on the very edge of that. If that comes in before January, maybe Rafa Benitez will be given money to strengthen. I just feel Rafa Benitez is a good enough coach to stay in Newcastle clear of relegation.
The one thing I would say about the 3 teams at the bottom right now, Palace, West Ham and Swansea, they've all had decent results of late, some more than others. Hammers are looking good because they're not conceding. But when you're in that battle, now you were successful during your career on the whole, when you're in that battle, you're used to that battle. My concern is the teams just above there who are not used to fighting. They're the ones that get dragged in and then they're like, well, what do we do?
It's a confidence issue right now, and about getting results when it matters. And the good thing about this and about how tight this race is that 1 or 2 results certainly transforms your outlook. Look at Everton and how doom and gloom we thought they were there for. A couple of good results, and all of a sudden they're knocking the top half of the table. And that is the big difference down there. Just getting a little bit of a run and building on that confidence-wise.
Recap your 3 to go down at this stage of the season. Who do you think?
Brighton, Huddersfield, Swansea.
Okay. ESPN FC. Keep tabs on this throughout the season. Who do you think? Join the conversation. So, NYC FC coach Patrick Vieira has been spending the early part of his off-season wisely, Shaka. He's been in Italy to have a look at how Maurizio Sarri and Napoli are getting on. That's to be applauded.
It is, and for a young coach new in the game, such as Patrick Vieira, looking at coaches who he respects and whose style of football he's trying to emulate at NYCFC, it makes perfect sense. Look, there's, in all honesty, especially for coaches, there's no such thing as an off-season. You go from your season to scouting players and trying to figure out your next steps, and Patrick Vieira is doing just that.
Before we get on to what's maybe next after NYCFC for Vieira, because he said he would like to maybe coach in Italy one day, let's take a look at how he has done with NYC. Now, 2 full years in charge and a couple of second-place finishes in the conference. This year was disappointing, losing in the semi-finals of the conference to Columbus Crew. If you were to give him a grade as a teacher, what would you say he deserves?
Well, it certainly would be a passing grade. It's difficult to say exactly how good Patrick Vieira has been for NYCFC because he took over the club a year into the MLS birth. And Jason Christ, who did a decent job, senior at Real Salt Lake, came in and took over the expansion outfit of NYCFC. That would always have problems. And then I think the club signed players, David Villa, who's proved to be a very good acquisition indeed, but Andrea Pirlo, who I think was more a statement signing than one that bore any fruit on the park. But Patrick Vieira came in post Jason Christ and took this team, and despite some early hiccups, I remember one in particular, very embarrassingly, against the New York Red Bulls. But they turned that around, and now to have 2 successive second-place finishes, I think is a testament to how well he's done and how he's grown. And again, hampered by some signings that may not necessarily have been of his own, but he somehow made it work, and I think he should be applauded for that.
What is more likely to get Patrick Vieira his next job? Success in MLS or the name Patrick Vieira?
I think both come in hand. Patrick Vieira, having that name inevitably opens doors. But you're at a club now at NYCFC, and that's ultimately what you will be judged on. If NYCFC struggle or don't continue to improve, then just as quickly as maybe we are talking and speculating about Patrick Vieira and other clubs, that will go away.
It's been linked with Saint-Etienne. It's also linked with the US national team as well. Just throw a grenade in there and see what happens.